Okay, hi. I just wanted to make a video of me speaking and explaining exactly what it is that I've just shown you, um, so you can get an idea of what I can credit myself for and what I can't. And the first thing I want to talk about is the purpose of this level that I've created here. So usually I sort of tend to spend too much time with micro details when building things, going into a lot of detail, and I tend to come off course, or come off track in the sense of the bigger picture. I always spend too much time on some small insignificant part of the level instead of focusing on sort of the whole um, the whole image as a whole when you look at it and stand back and take everything in. So as a personal sort of challenge myself, I just mainly used like primitive shapes to suggest detail. Uh, I was actually inspired to do this house from one of the showcase levels on the UDK site. It was actually built by an architect who I guess he wanted to show his clients in real time a sort of preview of a house he was designing. I'm assuming this. It could have just been for fun to try new technology. But yeah, I tried to stay away from doing too much in very little spaces. But this is essentially just some sort of dream house. I didn't want to sort of copy any existing houses, so I made it all from my imagination. The software that I use to model things is Maya 2010. So it's all modelled in that and textured up in that, as well as using Photoshop and stuff for the images. It's been quite an odd sort of journey through this level. I mean, I started off with just two squares on top of each other, and then it's just sort of expanded out from there, really. I didn't really tend to take it as far as it's come. I don't know, I guess it's turned out okay. But there is a lot of problems with it though. For instance, a lot of things don't make sense out of the textures and stuff don't add up, but if you really analyse a game that you play, you'll find all sorts of problems. But as you're rushing through the game and you're mainly focusing on the actual story opposed to analysing all the graphics in depth, then it doesn't really matter. And I think that's probably a really important aspect about building levels, is knowing how to invest your time and what areas need more detail than others. But the point of the matter is, though, when you sort of take a step back, come back to the original point here, you take a step back and look at everything, you want your eyes to be interested in what they're seeing, and there needs to be enough things on the screen to keep you interested. And I think I've done a much better job than I have did on a previous level I did for university, which I'm going to show after this and have a talk about that. But yeah, everything is really basic and primitive on this. And if you're wondering about the trees, I can't really take much credit for the trees because I used it's like a tree generation tool that Epic have integrated into their engine. It's called SpeedTree, and the level of knowledge required to build a tree like this is pretty minimum, really. You just set a bunch of parameters, and you can. It's quite an in-depth program, really. You can create photorealistic trees out of it. But the level of knowledge required to use that SpeedTree is pretty minimal, really. It's really easy to grasp. But I really didn't want to. I mean, I could model a tree if I wanted to. I mean, the fundamentals of a tree are pretty easy. It's just very extremely time consuming, and I didn't want to spend like a good few hours building trees. So speed trees there. So I used it. I never used it before, to be honest with you. So I actually wanted to try it out. Yeah. Some of you actually may have seen another project on YouTube. I think it's called something like Family House. I was heavily inspired by that as well. If you fly up. One of the main aspects about that is that it had grass on the roof, and I added that feature as well. My house has some bushes on top of there, which would soak up the rain or something. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it really. Main points are that I didn't want to really sort of go into detail on an exceptional level. I wanted to keep it kind of basic and very suggestive, and use a lot of just generally low amounts of polygons on primitive shapes, and see if I could achieve something that looks believable and very quickly. I think if I was to estimate the amount of hours I spent on this, it must be about 25 or something. Oh, something like that. I'm not sure if I have anything else to just say, apart from that I'm failing to type in a physics gun. And failing to type in that as well. Okay. Right, I think I'm going to move on to the next one now. The next level I'm going to talk about is an old university project, but the micro details and my modelling is much more focused, I'd say. But the actual level design of this is much more intellectual and much more sort of it's more complete as a package, I'd say. But yeah, I'm going to end this right here as I'm recording this on my phone. Okay, this is the other level I was talking about, called In Mortem. In Mortem stands for immortal in Latin, which was to do with the backstory that I created. That was a splash screen you just saw there, which I created out of this machine here, which features. Anyway, I did this for a university project. It was my major project for my honours degree, which I did on level design. Even though, ironically, the level design of this particular piece of work isn't very strong. It's just a bit random and a bit loose. But the quality of modelling, on the other hand, is pretty top notch in my opinion. It's okay. The detail's good. It's where it needs to be, and it runs in real time. This was supposed to be some sort of holographic display. I didn't want to keep it too futuristic, so I went for sort of steampunk with my own twist on it. I never really fully completed it. I mean, there should be like big pipes and stuff running around the floor, and big electronical boxes and stuff like that, but I never really got around to it. I think one of the most difficult things about UDK is to get a solid grasp on the shader networks. I struggled to create a convincing looking glass shader. This was the best thing I ended up with. Before I had just like semi-transparent with a bit of opacity and emissive pumped into it, but I think this has got some sort of Fresnel effect on it. I'm not quite sure what I did with this, but anyway, if you're wondering, I'll try and explain my assets here. That was a power generator in progress. These little surface things here was going to be where the pipes would be attached to all my equipment in this room. This right here was a refining drill, because we're on some sort of barren planet, and they had to refine this raw material. and this raw material would get sucked in this pipe, and it would travel along that pipe into the refining machine, where it would be sort of refined down. All the unwanted minerals would be extracted, and then from there it would get sucked up into this tank, and then from the tank into these test tubes, from which the scientists can do whatever they like with them. And what they was doing was, in the game, there would be somebody on there like a test subject, and they would inject this material that they discovered into the subject, which would increase their cellular healing rate. The faster their cells can regenerate. It's a pretty sort of Marvel idea, but it was the best thing I could come up with at the time, and that's just a little backstory to this. And the reason why this fella is dead down here is because it went horribly wrong, and everybody mutated, and so getting Dead Space now. I guess, I made this level last year-ish. Probably finished it about Christmas time last year, and I'd played Dead Space, and yeah, that was my main inspiration for this. As I go outside, it's supposed to be on some sort of desert planet, because this healing mineral, it's very volatile and it's killed everything on the planet. So that was my reasoning for making it so sort of desert style. I really struggled to do the outside, to be honest with you. It seems to be the most challenging aspect about making a level. It's so vast and there's so much space. I ended up just making 2 extremely long planes with a tileable rock texture plastered along it. And to be honest, it doesn't look very good, but at the time that was the best thing I could come up with. Before, it was just covered in those rocks down there, like, duplicated millions of times across, but the polygon limit was atrocious, so I did rid of that and did these massive planes. Yeah, well, it doesn't look that bad, considering this works like a year old now. This is the bad level design I was talking about. It's just literally you're supposed to get down there and it's a straight jump. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to go down there because there's not an awful reason to do so. I just wanted to show you the outside. You can tell that in the house my skills have developed a lot better. But you can tell the difference in the modelling between the two. The modelling and texturing of this level is much greater and much generally better, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty much all the explanations I need. The lighting's a bit poor as well. It's a bit dark, could be brighter. Yeah, I was very sort of skeptical when it came to lighting, in terms of how well it'd look. Because it would be dark, but then again you've got to compensate for that for playability and general looks. But I guess if this was a game, you'd have some sort of torch or something. So I don't know. It's extremely debatable, but whatever. Anyway, I think I'm going to be done talking here on this video, explaining my levels. Okay, ciao.